Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
So first off, I'd love to just know, where did your passion for books come from? And can you also tell us a little bit more about the journey to founding Allstora, from starting the Rainbow Book Bus to bringing in the legendary RuPaul as a co-founder? And also, why is Allstora's mission super important, especially for underrepresented authors?
Yeah, great questions. Where did my passion for books come from? I think I always loved stories and storytelling, whether that was in books or plays or movies. I really loved being able to escape, and it was really important to try to find stories that felt reflective of who I am. And growing up, that was kind of difficult. And then I think when I met my partner Eric, who is a queer author, and understanding, how difficult it is to make a living and be published as an author, let alone a queer author. Combining that love of stories, we said, what can we do? So it all started. My partner Eric had an online like book club during the pandemic, and so we started with Shop Queer, which was our online bookshop that was queer authors. We started with 10 titles. We grew that to around 3,000 titles. And at the same time, that was about uh, that was October 2022. We also launched a campaign to buy and convert a retired school bus because, we were thinking Magic School Bus meets classic book fairs. We live in LA, and we knew all these things happening with book bans. We're like, how do we bring these books that are being taken out of schools and libraries, and bring them to those communities that don't have access? So we started a campaign to build the Rainbow Book Bus in June 2023. We debuted the Rainbow Book Bus in the LA Pride Parade. And then this past March, we took the bus all across the South. We went to Texas, Florida, Alabama, all around, and we gave away over 7,000 banned
Wow.
LGBTQ plus books to students, parents, teachers. It was really amazing. And at the same time in March, we rebranded and expanded what we did for Shop Queer. We wanted to support all marginalized voices, all marginalized authors. And we brought on RuPaul, and now have over 1 million books on Allstora. So that's kind of been the journey.
I love that. And I definitely encourage everyone to go on Instagram and see the actual Rainbow Book Bus, because it looks amazing. But also, Adam, I love to just know, you talked about kind of the shifts that you've all done. So the Rainbow Book Bus began with an emphasis on LGBTQIA plus authors, but Alstora has really shifted its focus to all underrepresented authors. Of course, you still have a big emphasis on queer authors as well. But can you tell us a little bit more about what was the thinking behind that expansion of your vision and your mission?
We believe that all unrepresented authors and storytellers should have a platform, and we wanted to expand beyond just queer authors. We wanted to do what we did for Shop Queer for a Shop Black, a Shop Latinx. And so that was our goal, is being able to be a resource and uplift and support people of all marginalized backgrounds. And it's been really amazing getting to expand and grow. And if you know RuPaul, he firmly believes in that knowledge is power. And he's an avid reader. He just put out his memoir, and he really wanted to support all authors. And so it's been really amazing being able to expand and grow, and all the new people we've been able to meet and support. All Store really is a resource for authors. And so it's been wonderful. We launched this a few months ago, but going on this journey, it's been really wonderful.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of actually the journey we've taken here at Power to Fly. We began as a resource and platform for professional women, and have really expanded to represent all underrepresented voices in business and tech and media and so on. So I love that. I see a lot of kinship there. And you talked about Allstora really being a resource for authors. And that really is making me, realize when I was looking into it, as I mentioned at the top, how little full-time authors can sometimes make from their books. And you have actually shifted your model so that authors receive 100% of profits from individual book sales. So can you tell us a little bit more about that decision and what impact you hope it will have on authors down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that statistic, that on average, a published author, so an author that has been published or has a book in the works, on average makes $10,000 a year. I mean, that is just mind-blowing. And so our goal over here is, how do we support these marginalized voices? How do we say, continue doing what you're doing? We want to help you both with, marketing and publicity, but also financially. So we invite authors to come onto our platform. They can opt into our authors program, and then they will receive commissions from their sales. And yeah, 100% of the profits go back towards the authors. So the way that we run, just like a Costco, is we have memberships and we have book
Mhm.
clubs, and that's what keeps the lights on. But yeah, 100% of all book sales go directly back into the pockets of the authors that we all love and want to support. And it's been, the response has been really, really amazing. I think a lot of people are like, how do you make money? But yeah, it's that Costco type membership that, $5 a month, you become an Allstora member, you then get access to wholesale prices on books. And then you can also opt in to different book clubs. My partner Eric Cervini has a queer history book club. He has a gay book club. We just launched a sapphic book club. RuPaul has his book club, and we're hoping to launch many other book clubs in the near future.
Amazing. Well, I usually blur my background, but I'm sitting in a room full of like hundreds of books
I
where
love
like a
it. I love it.
big book house. We are members of Rue's book club, read Rue's memoir via Allstora there. We're looking to join some other book clubs. So I love this. And it's also making me think the wonderful thing about the platform as well is it reminds me of, if you're of a certain age, you went to a video store and, everything was nicely curated in that way rather than just like everything is there. So I love like you can go there and go, oh, if you're into wanting to know about like the queer Black experience, like you have a section for that. And it really helps you because sometimes we get overwhelmed with choice in this uh, era that we live in. So I think that is so great. And love to, talk more about some of the media stories around LGBTQI books. We've heard of many of us, and you've mentioned this as well when you were giving out books during the pandemic, that a lot of books by queer authors have been affected, removed from libraries and schools. And in addition to being the founder of Allstora, you're also worked as a drag queen as well. Events, of course, like Drag Queen Story Hours have really been targeted as of late. So why do you think it's important to ensure that LGBTQIA plus history and representation is part of education? And what can individuals do to push back against discrimination?
Yeah. I think now more than ever, it's really, really important that we all come together and work together as a community. It is our job to show that we have not only survived, but thrived in adversity. And our stories are valid. Our stories are important. I think that often a thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is there's a big mental health crisis with Gen Z. They are on their phones, they're on their TikToks, they see what's happening in the news. They see that books are being pulled from their libraries, from their schools, from their local bookshops. And that's really damaging to see that stories that feel reflective of them are not allowed anymore, that they cannot, they have that favorite book that they love, and that main character feels like, oh my gosh, that person is just like me. And then all of a sudden that book is pulled, that's really hurtful. And I think
Mhm.
it's our job to come together and tell young queer youth that you are valid, you are important, stories that reflect you. You deserve to have that. That's what we're doing with the Rainbow Book Bus. That's why our goal is to continue going on tours and giving away books. This past week, we've been doing a bunch of events with the LA LGBT Center. We just did a trans prom with them, gave away books. We just did an event down in Compton and gave away books. We want to share with queer youth and queer families that, if these books are being pulled, we will give them away to you for free. And I think it's important for people who want to fight these book bans to call up your local libraries, call up your local bookshops, ask for these banned books. Say, I'm looking for genderqueer. I'm looking for All Boys Aren't Blue. If you have a child in school, call your school and say, I want to have, a lot of the books that are being banned are children's books. So request those books. And I think that's a way to kind of fight back and continue to have these stories be shared because, we've always been here. Our stories have always been here from the dawning of time. And it's time we just need to really come together and fight and continue sharing these queer stories.
Oh, that I love that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that library boards, boards of education are elected officials. So you can really make your voice known at the ballot box or
Yeah.
through writing to those officials and say, hey, I don't like this. And often what has happened is so many of these libraries have lost funding and then suddenly the community realizes, oh, wow, look at all the stuff that this library was doing for education, for childcare, for providing free internet access. And once those resources go away, suddenly the community realizes, oh, wow, we lost something really valuable there, all because we wanted to ban some books.
Right? It might seem small, calling your library, calling your local bookshop, calling your local school, but you really can have an impact. And, it's really important that we all come together and make sure that these books stay in schools, stay in the libraries, people have access to them, because we believe that stories can change lives and can save lives as well.
No, I took yes, completely agree. And I'm wondering, can you go into a little more detail, any initiatives or partnerships Allstora has in place to amplify the voices of LGBTQ authors and promote their work? And I'd also throw into that, we had a question from the chat, was there something that surprised you most about your partnership with RuPaul?
Oh gosh. Maybe I'll start with that second one. Surprised me with the partnership with RuPaul. He is just an avid reader. If he ever has a second on set, a moment at home, he has a book in his hands. And I think that was really wonderful. And, as a drag queen, getting to have these heart to hearts with RuPaul about books that were really impactful, informative in his life has been really, really special. And getting book recommendations from RuPaul. I mean, I think something that people will see if they when they join his book club is that he's really invested. He's reading passages, he is answering questions, like he's reading these books. He loves these books. And I think that's been really, really special and wonderful. And then as far as partnerships, I mean, of course, All Star works hand in hand with the Rainbow Book Bus, where we are always having events. We're working with a lot of queer authors that have banned books to spotlight those books. We're working on a book club where all the proceeds will go back towards the Rainbow Book Bus. And of course, we're hoping to go on tour again. We went and did the South. So we're hoping to go in a few other different areas in the next few months. And that's kind of how we're able to spotlight these authors, share these stories, fight these book bans because we fundraise and then we buy the books. So that's how we're able to support these authors, support these publishers, and say, hey, even if this book is banned, I'm going to come in and buy 1,000 copies. That's how you support queer stories and queer storytelling. And then a few other fun things that will be announced very soon.
Have you had to deal with any pushback from people in general? Has Allstora had its own people that are like pushing back in terms of censorship or trying to censor you all?
Have we had experiences with censorship? Um, I mean, not so much for Allstora. I mean, of course, when we were on tour,
Mm.
As you can imagine, traveling in a rainbow bus in rural Alabama and hosting events in Tallahassee, Florida, we interacted with protesters, and we were very careful to let the LGBT centers we worked with announce where we were going, so we weren't putting out times or dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I always think when we were hosting an event in Baton Rouge and they're at a church, and there were all these protesters and this pastor, and I was like, was hosting the event with us. And I came out, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's protesters here. And he said, if there aren't protesters, you're not doing it right. That's just
Hmm.
another Tuesday for them. And so, I think being able to travel to these places and support these communities that are really doing the work every single day is really important. And it all comes back to supporting each other, loving each other, and helping to fight these bans, but also supporting the authors, which is what we do at Allstora, and it's what we do with the Rainbow Book Bus.
Yeah, this Pride season, my husband and I have been trying to go to a lot of local prides, a lot of people who have been doing their first prides. And when you go to
Yeah.
those, you really realize, almost everyone in the community, this is in upstate New York, so it's not quite in the South, but there's some conservative folks, but when you go to these events, you really realize, wow, most of the community is really in support of this. There's been many events that have been at churches as well, and then you realize, oh, the people who are protesting, it's a minority. They have a very loud voice, and they're amplified often by the media, but at the heart of this, so many of these communities are really supportive of these LGBTQ issues, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it's what we love to see.
And you hinted at some things, Adam, but what else can you tell us about any of Alstora's future plans to further promote diversity and fight discrimination within the literary community? This is just your first year in this new identity. So where are you looking to go from here?
I think what I want to emphasize, and if there's any authors listening, is that we are a resource. We are a resource whether you are trying to need help getting published, you want help navigating the publishing and writing industry, you want help marketing. We are here to be a resource for marginalized authors and to uplift and support you. So please go to our website. We have a tab that says for authors. You're able to opt in. It also allows you to collect commissions. And as we've said, 100% of book profits go back directly towards the authors. So we're here. We are a resource. We are listening. We want to help you. We believe these stories are not only important, but essential. And we want you to keep telling them. So that's how we promote, whether it's on our social media, whether it's on our website, whether it's in our newsletter. We want to help share your stories, and we want you to keep writing. And that's how we fight back. That's how we keep the magic of queer storytelling alive. So please come to Allstora. Please check out the Rainbow Book Bus. You always have a family with both of us, and we're just so excited to keep growing and evolving.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, I love seeing all the resources on there. Your newsletters are great as well. And this Pride season too, there's a lot of folks that might be listening. Maybe they're not authors, but they want to follow in your footsteps, in Eric's footsteps, in terms of building a business as an LGBTQ person and someone who's now started several businesses with great forward-thinking missions. What advice would you give to someone who is a queer person who's looking to become an entrepreneur and start their own business?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a great question. Um, I think that I came from a corporate background, and I always felt like I needed to hide. I needed to, be more subtle. I needed to speak a certain way, maybe not have lean with all my queerness. I think those things are your superpower. I think lean into those. I built a company where we are able to support authors and stories. I love stories. I love authors. I'm able to sometimes get into drag, which is my passion. I was able to take all those things that I maybe feel like I needed to hide in a previous role and bring those to life. So use those things that make you feel different. Those are your superpowers. And just find something you love and find a community and reach out to us. And if you ever have any questions, we'll help. But it's a journey starting a business, but it's so special and it's so amazing getting to build um, the team around you. And we're very proud to have a very queer team around us. And getting to uplift those voices as well has been really, really special and certainly the most important thing I've done in my life so far. Oh, I think you're muted.
There we go. So, no, I love that. There's some more queer business owners who are going to be speaking across the next few days. So, thank you so much, Adam. And before we let you go, just let us all know where else we can follow Allstora, where to find out more information, because I know you've got a lot in store coming up, and we want to make sure people know how to keep up to date.
Yeah, of course. Check out allstora.com as well as rainbowbookbus.org. And you can find both on social media, Allstora Books, and then also Rainbow Book Bus. You can see all of our upcoming Rainbow Book Bus events. And make sure to join the Allstora newsletter so you can get book recommendations and learn about our upcoming book clubs.
Amazing. Yes, as I said, we're a member. Love seeing it. I've seen so many great Instagram updates as well. So thank you again for being here, Adam. We'll make sure everyone gets those links after the event as well. And thanks again for being here and all the amazing work that you're doing.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Pride.